Hello everyone, MFPallytime here, and welcome back to Orcs Must Die 3. Hope you guys are doing well today. No face cam for our intro. Got myself a nice migraine, so I'm sitting in a dark room. But that doesn't stop our intro. If you enjoy our Orcs Must Die 3 content, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Just takes you a quick second and helps us out a ton. We are continuing our playthrough in the Old Friends main campaign of the game. We have arrived on the 13th level, the Master's Courtyard, and I'm going to show you guys a really easy strategy for getting that perfect 5-skull rating. Let's take a look at the layout. This is the southern side of the map on the second story. Actually, it might be the third, yeah, we'll call it the second story. And this has a main entrance where the enemies divert in both directions, heading down a mirrored staircase on either side before they make their way into the rift area here. This is a super wide area, and it took me quite some time to figure out how I wanted to manage this. But the strategy we came up with works extremely well. If we take a look at some of the enemies, we are getting the fire fiends that are immune to fire damage. We have the fire lords, which are also immune to fire damage, but then destroy your barricades. But we're not seeing any kobold sappers. We're not seeing any dynamite archers. So any barricades that you sit down, as long as those elementals don't die next to them, they're going to be pretty protected. And our kill box up top should protect most of the kobolds on the map throughout the entirety of the run. There are two more entrances on this side of the map. This is the western side here, and the eastern side is mirrored on the other path. These two paths converge on the main stairs over here and make their way directly into the rift area. During my testing on this map, I was trying to come up with some ideas where, I have to go back up top. I was using some single barricades, and I was trying to do our normal thing where we funnel enemies down a line and slow them here. Typically makes the first round of many levels much easier to handle, especially when you have diverting paths like this. However, those fire lords are going to be spawning in on round 1 and destroying both barricades in that situation. I also tried some strategies where I blocked off one side with the single barricades and then had an opening here, or actually it was over here, and tried to kill some enemies, and that went okay, but I still ended up taking a lot of damage on one of the barricades and sometimes losing them. So I needed a way to make the difficulty curve of round 1 easier. And then in round 2, a lot of enemies come out of this door all at once. So I sold everything up top, and I was like trying to barricade in here and getting them all to come down a single path. But then if you fight here, you have such terrible wall coverage that, a lot of stuff was getting through. There's no ceiling coverage here. So yeah, a lot of my first instincts did not work. However, we have a very easy workaround. The traps we are using today are the Staff of Domination for my primary weapon. Double-sided barricades. This is super important. When I was playing in co-op, we would do a strategy like this, where we would barricade in between these things. But if I'm by myself, you could see if we have to rotate this barricade, that's going to be a lot of extra money. So I have a new barricade path that we're going to be using here. The first barricade is placed right at the edge of these stairs. Really, you could use either side. I'm just using this side. The first fire elemental that spawns walks this direction, so it just gives me a little bit more time to figure out what I'm going to do with the fire elementals upstairs. And then our second barricade is going to be placed here. This totally blocks off the western path from the main entrance, and it's going to force all of our enemies back up the stairs once they realize it's blocked, and then they'll all make their way down this path. We also brought tar. I have acid sprayers. We have UFOs. If you ever need a trap to really take down a bunch of enemies and slow their progress, tar and gravity pillars are a very good answer to that. We have the dart shooters with cold, these wall sprayers with cold, arcane dragons, because these hallways are beautiful for the bouncing upgrade on these things. They have so much uptime, and there will actually be a pretty decent amount of density in this area as well. I'm going with the flower. It's not super needed. Although, you know, they're always nice to have some good crowd control. And our ceiling trap of choice for dealing damage at range is going to be the sprayer, upgraded with acid, but the normal frost upgrade will do just fine. Our barricade down here is not going to be its permanent configuration. I want to start preparing you for this. At the end of round number 1, we're going to want to sell this and then extend out our barricade line just like this. It's actually such a gorgeous configuration. It takes both lanes from up top on the western and eastern side of the map and has them all funnel up this same staircase to come fight you up top. We're going to place our main kill box to the left of the southern door right here, and this will catch every single enemy on the map. However, we have a really crucial transition round. At the end of round 1, we need to be down here, and we need to sell this barricade to make all of this work. Figuring out that barricade placement and when I needed to move that stuff around made this introduction so much easier. If you don't block off the map like this, enemies just feel like they're running in every single direction. The money that we're spending in round 1 doesn't really even matter that much because we'll have ample time to sell off anything we build here in later rounds. And I believe we get enough money just from this first round to extend that barricade line without having to do anything else, which is pretty powerful. Barricades are positioned downstairs already. Let's get up a pretty straightforward trap setup. We'll put acid on the ground. We'll put tar on the ground and a couple UFOs above these. And we'll hope this holds for our first round. Of course, with the Staff of Domination, we could use our right click to mind control enemies and make them fight in an area much longer than they may otherwise. But another important thing about our positioning here is we actually have a ton of space behind us where we could just back up for a long time too. Most of these enemies were thwarted by the gravity pillars there, picked up into the air. We're going to start just right-clicking every now and then with our Staff of Domination. That gives us some AoE damage when the main target of that mind control does get taken down. First Fire Lord spawning right now. I'm just going to mind control him since we caught him on the escape. We were just looking at him with nothing to do. And I can shoot. I swear. I've played shooters before. We'll just try to take these fire elementals down before they get to the core. This is going to be one of the hardest rounds of the entire level. So if you can make it through round 1, okay, I might die here actually. If you can make it through round 1, you'll be fine. I am going to come down here and just get full HP. We have a ton of mana to use at our disposal to finish off these guys. Again, just using that right click on the staff to group them up and hopefully take them down pretty quickly. Notice my positioning. I was ready for this kind of aggression by our enemies. We wanted to be down here on the ground floor, and that's exactly where we're going to be. Our part-time might look a little intimidating, but it's extremely lenient. Those enemies walking around for that long, really not that big of a deal at all. I was in position to sell off this barricade, and now we're just going to extend it down the stairs and close off this path with this configuration. You can go up here and fight these guys if you want to. You could wait for them to come back to your kill box. I'm just going to come up here and get some damage in. But literally, these guys have to walk the entirety of the map now. They have to not only move down this large staircase, but they also have to walk back up the other staircase towards the huge entrance we were just defending. So there are some kobolds strewn around in here, and kobolds can be a little bit of a problem. However, remember, we did build on round 1, and our UFOs are still in position on the top floor. So if any of those kobolds did get by, they would simply be picked up and killed by our gravity pillars. Now, remember those gravity pillars I forgot to mention in our intro are augmented through the upgrade system to have physical damage added onto their toolkit, just to make it so they can actually deal damage and finish off enemies on their own. Now we have a nice little bit of time to do whatever we want to up here, because both of the bottom doors on round 3 are going to have enemies coming out of them, and we can start to build up over here. I don't want to have a stretch of land where enemies can get through without having to step on tar. I wouldn't want to put 2 poisons in a row, for instance, because then they would all just kind of beeline it down that path. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna commit to the dart gun here. I think I'll be able to hold off most enemies standing right here, and I'm not even chasing after them at this point. I'm just gonna let them come to me. And here they come. The dart gun on the ceiling, the dart trap doing a great job of just spreading AoE damage. I'm gonna space those out. I'm gonna vary those probably with our acid traps here. The acid traps are in the middle because they provide a greater AoE onto the other tiles. The acid kind of spills out and affects a wider area there, which is super nice. Be alert that the Staff of Domination does send people flying sometimes when you kill them with the right click in play. If someone's mind controlled and they explode, sometimes enemies can go flying. I had earlier strategies for this map where I was using some barricades close to the railway here for exactly that purpose. Wow, that sniper's gonna get an upgrade. That was a phenomenal shot. So basically, I was running a barricade down this line just to make it so no enemies could be knocked off. And that works pretty well. And we've used that strategy on other levels where we're simply trying to condense the lane into a single tile for effectiveness. But that it doesn't work out with the fire elementals. They literally just killed everything. They ruined all of the fun. This guy right here on this round is literally the reason we don't barricade up here anymore. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. We are going to get a mind control on him, and as the smaller ones split off, they are going to be running into those UFOs and getting picked up. UFOs protect you from a lot of those smaller things that could slip through. Normally that would be Brimstone's job, but because these guys are immune to that fire damage, we had to shift up our strategy a little bit. As I start to get some money here, we're going to be putting in our frost wall traps. That'll just shoot out a beam periodically that will stun everyone in the lane. Combos really, really well with the gravity pillars because they can group up a lot of enemies, keep a lot of enemies in line for that trap when it goes off. Round 3 is quickly coming to a close, and as you can see, I'm not having any trouble at all in this kill box already. The crowd control in here is fantastic between my primary weapon, the tar, and all of the freezes. So, man, these guys that get lost are really adding to our timer at the moment. Excuse me, bud. Stay in with the program, okay? So because the damage here is looking really, really good, the crowd control is looking really, really good. Motherfucker, I hate everything. We're gonna add in these arcane dragons that are gonna deal damage down the lane. That sucks. And every single one of these guys is choosing to walk down the path that the dragon can't hit. I see yous. I know what you're up to.
They're almost there.
Okay, an ogre literally knocked this guy into my rift almost. All right, guys, that's funny. Cut it out. This is holding super duper well, though. Most enemies not even making it halfway through, even while I was downstairs cleaning up a little bit of the leak. That was forced onto us by the ogre. Nothing even walked past it. Unfortunately, that guy running across the map did make that sail a little sketchy. But we did manage to replace the arcane dragons, and we're just going to mirror this on the other side for some extra damage. We're also going to extend the ice walls back, so as these guys move up, they will be slowed even more. Round 6 is the first to have all of the doors of the map open, so getting this long-range damage in before this round is a pretty good idea, because the bouncing dragons are going to have a ton of uptime here. And if these Fire Lords die, they're kind of already in the kill box with no necessary barricades nearby. None of our crucial barricades are really in danger of those fire elemental explosions at any time. armored ogre moving in. Of course, he won't be picked up by the gravity pillars, but we can use him as a vessel to kill off a lot of the other orcs here. Unfortunately, our freeze strategy is so proficient right now, he didn't even get a swing off before he was completely frozen solid. We really don't even have much here, honestly. This is just super duper efficient crowd control. We can add in some ice sprayers. We could also put a flower in here somewhere. 2 flowers in the back would really cement the crowd control here even more. Another line of UFOs behind this probably wouldn't be a bad idea. But let's start to mix in a few of our ceiling sprayers as well, just for some added damage. And then we'll continue the UFO line back as we get some money. I don't think this strategy is going to get a particularly high multiplier. Like, I don't think we're going to be sitting really pretty on the leaderboard, but it has such easy progression, such a nice fluid progression where it meets the demands of the level almost every single round. Like, we had the perfect amount of money for the long range stuff the moment we knew we were going to have a ton of enemies coming through. Our barricades are super safe down there. I say as I break an elemental. See, it's running this way. There's no problems at all. And the crowd control that we do have here does enough damage that it's able to melt most of the stuff away anyway. And here we go, the final round. Round 8 out of 8 with 3 minutes of par time left to go. It's like they expect you to walk these enemies around like this, yet still don't have a very strict par time for it at all. Adding in a few more sprayers just so we can get more damage. Maybe we can add in another ice wall over here. Potentially we could add in some more acid on the ground here just so they don't skip out on any of that. But all in all, if this trap gauntlet has hold for this long, I think it's gonna hold through this round 2. Although if we take a look at the mini-map, there's about to be a lot of stuff moving up here. I am gonna mind control the Fire Lord. He was just outside of the trap gauntlet, however. Those little elementals moving towards us aren't even going to make the flowers scared. They didn't even shoot. They weren't even worried. And as those little elementals break off in here, the ice walls are doing such an excellent job of actually killing them. In fact, if I mind control in this setup, I might be making the situation worse because we have a small chance that one of the enemies will be thrown off the balcony here almost directly into the rift. 1 minute 45 seconds left on our par time. The dragons flying through most of the remaining enemies at this point. That's just beautiful. Even their chunks get thrown off almost into the rift. I'm going to run past the majority of these dudes really fast and worry about the ones that are lost on the stairs just to try to improve my time by a few seconds. But it doesn't get much better than that. Figuring out my first few starting rounds on this level really propelled the strategy in a perfect direction. This one should be super duper easy to follow if you are here looking for some help. Our score was 847,000. That seems ridiculously low. Top score 4 million. Although only a few people breaking 2.6 million. If we find me, hey, almost top 500, almost top 500. Yeah, we could probably do something a little more combo oriented, but that just flowed so nicely. I enjoyed that level quite a lot. That one was really, really fun. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the sludge shelves. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button on your way out. We'll be back again soon with another episode. Take care. See you again soon.